Welcome to the show that takes up no more than 5 minutes of your time, but could help you gain massive real estate knowledge. It's 5 Minutes in Real Estate with best-selling author Shane Willis.
Hello, it's Shane Willis, Pensacola real estate expert, bringing you this seasonal today's episode. Fun, it's raining today. Hey, I guess we'll walk out on the back porch. All right, so it's supposed to be Friday. It is Friday. It's not supposed to be Friday, it is Friday. And so we've got an infographic out. If you want to see it, I'm going to put it over at the blogs, shanewillis.com/blogs. But we're not going to do it as a podcast today. It's a good infographic. I made sure I had a nice one up for you. Talks about what we talked about yesterday, honestly, the seasonal dip down and the amount of properties that have sold. Not the price, but the amount of properties that have sold. So, go check that out, shanewillis.com/blog. But today we're actually going to talk about pumpkin spice, Christmas trees, Halloween, and Mardi Gras. It's all kinds of fun. I'm sitting here, it's August, what is it? Today's the 10th, right? Yeah, August 10th. My wife actually went to Hobby Lobby about a month ago, sent me a picture. This was right after 4th of July. And she said, look what Hobby Lobby is selling. And it was Christmas stuff. I think Walmart has already been taking some of the grill stuff down after the back to school stuff, and they'll be putting up Christmas stuff. And I need you to brace yourself because we are going to have pumpkin spice everything. It was based on Starbucks' very, popular campaign they did about pumpkin spice, and it has just taken over everything. Everybody's trying to emulate it. It's that time of season. I've seen some people out of the base. If I'm not mistaken, the commissary's already got pumpkin spice coffee creamer. So we're going to have pumpkin spice everything. Now, what the hell does all this have to do with real estate, Shane? Well, it's going to be some clever marketing now. And there's going to be some people that are going to go overboard on the clever marketing. And it's going to detract from your property. So I just wanted to kind of bring it up, almost as a fun thing on a Friday, to bring up. I have walked into, and I'm going to start walking into house after house after house now, that has pumpkin spice everything. They will have a pumpkin spice cake baking on top of a pumpkin spice smell good thing. I can't think of the little thing you plug in, Glade plug in. I mean, you just walk in the door and it's almost overwhelming. And that's not what you want to do. I'm not saying that you don't use themes to help market a property. You absolutely can. And it's kind of fun. I've actually, I told a story in the, if you look at the show notes, I actually told a story about a Halloween theme we did. Now, we took pictures before Halloween, so the property was coming on middle of October. And so we did a huge build-up for a Halloween open house. But when I took the photos, the original photos, my photographer, the guy that I pay, my professional photographer that I use, went out there and took photos. It's a beautiful day, blue sky. There was not one stitch of Halloween decorations on the place. Now, as soon as he left, the owners got to work. And they had a huge back patio set up. They set up a whole bunch of stuff for kids. We marketed to the neighborhood. And we had a Halloween-style open house. We didn't do it on Halloween because I didn't want to take it away from Halloween. If I'm not mistaken, we did it on the 29th. It was a couple years ago. We did it on the 29th. And we marketed to the entire neighborhood, all the surrounding areas. I did some Facebook ads. We had a fantastic show up. Half the neighborhood showed up. All the kids were there. We told them dress up, come on, because we were going to be dressing up. I actually had some friends of mine that are actors and just love cosplay. So I told them, hey, we're doing this. And they're like, hey, we'll come play. I'm like, sure, come on. So they dressed up as some zombie things, and they're just really, really good at that type of makeup. So that worked out well. I had one of them answering the door. It was just, we had a ton of people come through that house. Now the kids, we shuffled to the backyard because that's where we kind of had set up. I had set up a few things out there. Some of the parents we allowed to walk through the house. And I knew that 3/4 of the people coming to that open house were not interested in buying that house. It was the neighborhood, right? The neighborhood was having a blast. But you know what they were doing? They were talking about the house. We had a whole social media hashtag set up with the address. And people, you know, we were asking people, hey, take a picture here. You know, if you like the place, take a picture here. Post it up with this hashtag. And they love it. Now, one of the things that I talk about in the show notes is making sure that when you do something like that, you don't detract from the house. We want to have fun, but we don't want to detract from the house, because remember, the purpose of an open house is to try and sell the property. So we don't want to detract from the house. This particular house had a huge, I sound like the president. It's huge. He had a huge dining room. I mean, this thing set a 8-top, no problem. Captain's chairs, big long table. It was great. But I did not want to detract from that. They wanted to put, you know, drop down black with spiders hanging on the wall and would take half the room up. And I went, no, that's not what we're doing. Instead, we got a projector. We cleared one wall. We had a couple of photos on that. We cleared that wall off. We put a projector in the middle of the great table, this grand table, which we had, you know, a couple of cauldrons on the table that you're not detracting from. And this projector ran some scary ghosts across the walls, right? When they were, you know, it was, I don't know where he found this thing, but it was actually pretty good. It was pretty cool, because there was times that kids would walk in that didn't even know the ghost was there, and then all of a sudden you see this scream, and you see kids scream, and it was great. Anyways, it did not detract from the room, and that's a big thing if you're going to use a themed open house. If you're going to use a themed open house in the holidays, like I said, there's nothing wrong with putting a little pumpkin spice into it, because people are used to that now. They're almost desensitized to it, but don't overpower it. And the big thing, like if you get into Christmas time, right? Don't take your main photos with Christmas trees unless you have a plan to change those photos at the beginning of January. Now, for those of you who are not listening, I don't live in our area here along the Gulf Coast. I have seen some people get away with trees being a little longer. I've seen some people get away all the way into March of having Christmas trees up, because they're not considered Christmas trees after first of the year. The decorations change, and they change to purple and gold, and they call them Mardi Gras trees. So I think it's just a lazy way. If I don't want to have to put the Christmas tree back up again that soon, so let's just change decorations out, and we can keep the Christmas tree up for, 4 months now. Anyways, we can get away with that, and that's fine. But I actually read an article, and I was trying to find it. I can't remember where it was. I think I was reading it on a plane when I went to go give a speech. It was from the National Association of Realtors. It said after about late January, if there's pictures of a house that's active and it has a Christmas tree on it, it actually devalues it. It's a perceived devaluation from the buyer, because something's wrong. It was up before Christmas, and why am I still looking at Christmas trees? There's just a psychological game to this. So I say all that to say, hey, we're entering, kids start back to school Monday in Escambia County. So we're going to be ending summer up. Labor Day is going to finish, and there's going to start to be some themes. And there's nothing wrong with having fun with themes. Just don't go overboard to detract from the house, just to have the fun. Because again, remember, the purpose of an open house is trying to sell the house. Now back to that Halloween story. What wound up happening, we did have about 7 buyers that were not from the neighborhood that showed up, or within an hour. We had a ton of buyers. I think we had like 20 some odd buyers from around the city show up, plus all the neighbors showed up. What wound up happening was all the buzz from that, one of the neighbors went back to work the next day and just was talking about it. And we've seen a bunch of people talking about it later. Because I'd asked him, I said, hey, if you talk about it tomorrow, post it up again. Give us a comment, give us a like, give us whatever. I had a page for the event and everything else. It was fun. But she had went back and was talking to a coworker. And of course they were good friends, and the coworker happened to be looking for a house. Hadn't used me, had her own realtor, which was fine. That's fine. I don't mind co-marketing. Matter of fact, I love it. Most of my stuff is done co-marketing. But she went back, talked to her friend, said, hey, of course they got to talking about how they could be neighbors, and and she lived one street over. And long story short, she came over after the Halloween. She did look at a lot of pictures of the Halloween stuff and loved it all. She came over first week in November. We had all the Halloween stuff down. The people were starting to work on Thanksgiving decorations. These guys really like to decorate. I mean, they had a decoration for every season. But I told them, don't take away from the house, and they didn't. Long story short, the lady wound up purchasing the property and celebrated Christmas in that house. And the sellers were very, very happy to be out by Christmas because they wanted to be out by the end of the year anyways, so that their new home could be homesteaded. If you don't know, if you don't close on a property before December 31st, you cannot homestead that property that next year, because the homestead law in Florida says that you have to own the property as of midnight, January 1. So when everybody's shooting off fireworks and kissing and drinking champagne, you have to own the property at that point. That's why we closed on our house, our last house, the one we live in now. I think we closed December 22nd. And for some reason, I thought I could still host Christmas December 25th. That was, that's a whole different story. Anyways, there's nothing wrong with playing with the seasons. There's nothing wrong with marketing with the seasons. Just don't go crazy with it. Have fun with it, but don't detract from the house. All right, that's all I got for you today. As always, if you've not subscribed to get the tips, tricks, graphs, infographics, the stuff like the blog that I sent out, get over to 5minutesinrealestate.com. That's 5minutesinrealestate.com, or you can like our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Shane Willis, the Realtor. Facebook.com/Shane Willis, the Realtor, because I post most of that stuff there as well, at least links to it. Also, if you've not subscribed to your player choice to listen to these podcasts when they come out, get over there. We're on iTunes, we're on Google Play, we're on Stitcher, we're on Spotify, we're on iHeartRadio, we're on SoundCloud, we're on YouTube, we're on them all. Get over to your player choice, find us, hit like, hit subscribe. Hush, dog, I'm talking. Hit subscribe, give me a thumbs up, give me a heart, give me a like. Give me a nice comment, please. And finally, I always in the podcast the same way. I don't ask for any money for these things, but I do ask if you found any value in this or any other episode that you shared on social media. It's Friday, everyone. Have a great weekend as we start to enter into this holiday area.